The Basset family were amongst the early Norman settlers in the Kingdom of England. It is currently one of the few ancient English families that have survived through the centuries. In a paternal line, they originated at Basset in the Duchy of Normandy. Origins: Thurstan Basset, 1052–1128, is the founder of House Basset and came from Quilly Basset, Normandy. He appears in the Battle Abbey role, and the one surviving branch of his descendants was long seated at the manor of Tahiti in the parish of Illigan, near Camborne, in Cornwall. The family later moved its principal seat to Devonshire, Whitechapel, Bishop's Nympton, then Umberley and Heanton Puncheon, and Tahiti became the seat of the junior branch, which became very wealthy in the 18th century from leases granted by them for tin and copper mines located on their estates, most notably the tin and copper mines at Poole, between Camborne and Redruth, from which they earned income of £10,000 per annum. The family also controlled two of the richest mines in Cornwall, namely, Cook's Kitchen, in Poole and Dolcoath, near Tahiti. They were the fourth largest landowner in Cornwall in 1873, as revealed by the Return of Owners of Land, 1873, with 16,969 acres. After the Rashley family of Menabili, 30,156 acres. The Boscawen of Tregothnan, 25,910 acres. And the Robarts of Lanhydrock, 22,234 acres. According to Hals, a Basset held some military post in Cornwall as early as the time of Robert, Earl of Mortain, Florida, 1066. However, Lysons, who had a good opportunity of forming a sound judgment from his personal acquaintance in the early part of the 19th century with Sir Francis Basset, 1st Baron de Dunstanville, says that the Bassets, who seem to have been first settled in Oxfordshire and other of the Midland counties, can scarcely be said to have become Cornish folk, although they may have held property in Cornwall earlier, until the marriage of Adeliza de Dunstanville with Thomas, Baron Basset of Hedendon, Oxfordshire, in the time of King Henry II, 1154–1189. Her ancestor, Alan de Dunstanville, was lord of the manor of Tahiti as early as 1100. Scrope in his History of the Manor of Castlecombe, Wilts, corroborates this account. This Thomas Basset appears to have been a descendant, probably a great-grandson, of King Henry I's justiciary Osmond Basset, and himself held a like post under King Henry III, 1216–1272. Other members of the families of Basset and de Dunstanville also intermarried in the reign of Richard I, 1189–1199. It is extremely difficult to trace the details of the first settlement of the Bassets in Cornwall. Once settled in Cornwall, they remained at Tahiti steadfastly in a direct male line, albeit in a junior line, until 1915, and the bones of many generations of Bassets lie in Illigan Church. They intermarried with the families of Treneth, Trengove, Trelawney, Maris, Ennis, Carveth, Godolphin, Prideaux, Grenville, Pendarves, Rashley, and other prominent Cornish families. Amongst the early Cornish Bassets are Sir Ralph Basset, who was summoned from Cornwall to attend, with other knights, King Edward I in the Welsh Wars at Worcester in 1277. And it was probably here one of his sons who obtained from King Edward III a patent for certain markets and fairs for the neighbouring town of Redruth in Cornwall. He also procured a license to crenellate his manor house of Tahiti in the year 1330–31, and Leland mentions it as a castlet pile of Bassets. The name of a William Basset appears in 1324, during the reign of King Edward II, amongst the nomina hominorum ad arma in com. Itatu, Cornubii, names of men-at-arms in the county of Cornwall. Carew, and another Basset of the same name held a military fee at Tahiti and Trafalgar in 1403. During the reigns of Kings Henry VI, VII and VIII, the Bassets were frequently sheriffs of Cornwall, and during the reign of King Edward IV, according to William of Worcester, a Sir John Basset held the castle, the ruins of which still stand on the summit of Cairn Brea, not far from Tahiti. Their right goodly lordship, as John Leland called it, extended over the parishes of Illigan, Redruth, and Camborne, the advowsons of which churches pertained to the manor of Tahiti, and the livings of which were occasionally held by some member of the family. But their wealth in later times was mainly derived from the enormous mineral riches of this part of Cornwall, although they also held considerable property in the northeastern part of the county. The names of the earlier Bassets are little known in history, save that in the time of Henry VII, 1485 to 1509, John Basset, Sheriff of Cornwall, found his posse comitatus too weak to suppress the Flamic rebellion. Senior, Devon branch. In 1558 the Bassets divided into two branches, the senior remaining at Humberley and Devon, having given Tahiti to the junior branch, which remained there until 1915. The senior Devon branch were seated in addition at Heenton Puncheon in Devon, and became extinct in the male line in 1802, but continued under the adopted name of Basset via the female line in the successive families of Davy and Williams at Watermouth Castle until that adoptive line failed a second time on the death in 1907 without children of Walter Basset. 1863 to 1907. Born Walter Basset Williams, the remaining Basset manors in Devon of Humberley and Berrien Arbour, in which was situated Watermouth Castle, were then sold. Junior Cornish branch. The junior Cornish branch continues to this day in 2017, but Tahiti was sold by the family in 1915. The Cornish branch was refounded by George Basset, died 1580, who in 1558 had been given Tahiti by his nephew Sir Arthur Basset. 1541 to 1586, of Humberley, who was buried in the Humberley Chapel in Devon, now a ruin, but whose chest tomb was moved circa 1820 to nearby Atherington Church, where it remains today. Descent of junior Cornish branch. The descent of the junior branch of the Basset family of Tahiti is as follows. George Basset, died 1580, second son of Sir John Basset, 1462 to 1529. K.B. of Humberley, was given Tahiti by his nephew Sir Arthur Basset, 1541 to 1586, of Humberley. He married Jacketta Coffin, James Basset, son of Tahiti. In 1587 married Jane Godolphin, daughter of Sir Francis Godolphin, knight, and had 9 children. Sir Francis Basset, died 1645, of Tahiti, son, a strenuous royalist, High Sheriff of Cornwall, 1642, sold St Michael's Mount in order to pay fine levied on him by Cromwell during the Commonwealth. Married in 1622 Anne Trelawney, daughter of Sir Jonathan Trelawney, knight. John Basset, second surviving son, c. 1624 to 1661, of Tahiti, MP for St Ives. Married Anne Delbridge of Barnstaple. Francis Basset, died 1675, son. Married Lucy Heal. Francis Basset, 1674 to 1721, son, of Tahiti, MP for Mitchell, High Sheriff of Cornwall, 1708. Married, secondly, to Mary Pendarves, John Pendarves Basset, 1713 to 1739. Eldest son. Married Anne Prideaux, d. 1760. Daughter and co-heir of Sir Edmund Prideaux, 5th Baronet of Netherton. His widow purchased the palatial Holden House in the parish of Dunchidiock, Devon, from Sir John Chichester, 5th Baronet, 1721 to 1784, of Eulston in the parish of Sherwell, Devon, where she was resident in 1758. John Prideaux Basset, 1740, posthumous, -1756. Son, died aged 16, when his heir became his uncle. Francis Basset, died 1769. Francis Basset, 1715 to 1769, uncle, of Tahiti, formerly of Imlay, Northamptonshire, second son of Francis Basset, died 1721, of Tahiti, MP for Penrhyn 1766 to 69, married in 1756 to Margaret St Auburn, died 1768, daughter of Sir John St Auburn, 3rd Baronet. Francis Basset, 1st Baron de Dunstanville and Basset, 1757 to 1835, eldest son, died without male issue, left one daughter Frances Basset, 2nd Baroness Basset, 1781 to 1855, who died unmarried. John Basset, 1791 to 1843, nephew, son of Rev. John Basset, second son of Francis Basset, died 1769, by his wife Mary Wingfield, daughter of George Wingfield of Durham, MP for Helston 1840–41, married Elizabeth Mary Price, daughter of Sir Rose Price, 1st Baronet, 1768–1834, of Trengwainton. John Francis Basset, 1831 to 1869, eldest son, married Hon. Emily Prendergast, daughter of Charles Vereker, 2nd Viscount Gort, 1768 to 1842, died childless. Rebuilt Tahiti House in 1861. Arthur Basset, 1833 to 1870, brother, died unmarried. Gustavus Lambert Basset, 1834 to 1888, brother, married in 1869. Charlotte Mary Elmhurst, died 1898. Arthur Francis Basset, b. 1873, son, married Rebecca Salisbury Trelawney, daughter of Sir William Lewis Salisbury Trelawney, 10th Baronet, 1844 to 1917. Sold Tahiti in 1915. Ronald Limbart Basset, 1898 to 1972. Son, 2nd Scots Greys Regiment, married in 1931. Lady Elizabeth Legge, 1908 to 2000. Daughter of William Legge, 7th Earl of Dartmouth, 1881 to 1958. She was appointed in 1959 an extra woman of the bedchamber to Queen Elizabeth the Queen Mother and became one of the Queen Mother's favourite and longest-serving ladies-in-waiting. She was appointed DCVO. Brian Ronald Basset, CBE, 1932 to 2010. Son, Chairman, Royal Ordnance, who in 1987 oversaw the sale of the public sector business and its 16 factories and 19,000 employees to British Aerospace. He attended Eton College and the Royal Military Academy, Sandhurst, and became a captain in the Scots Guards. He worked as a stockbroker in Toronto, Canada, in 1957. In 1959, he returned to the City of London where he joined Panmure Gordon & Co. until 1972. In 1971 he and his wife survived a serious accident on a private road on his father-in-law's Hokham Hall estate, when in thick fog his Bentley hit an 80-feet-high obelisk. In 1972 he was appointed Managing Director of Philip Hill Investment Trust until 1985. When he was appointed Chairman of Royal Ordnance, He inherited from his mother a 1/100th share of the office of joint hereditary Lord Great Chamberlain. He farmed at Quarles, on the Hokum estate, where he enjoyed shooting and fishing and where he bred sailor cattle and won supreme titles at the 1997 Royal Show at Stoneleigh. In 1960 he married Lady Carey Elizabeth Coke, daughter of Thomas William Edward Coke, 5th Earl of Leicester, 1908 to 1976, of Hokum Hall in Norfolk. Deemed the marriage of the year, attended by the Queen Mother. It was broadcast by Anglian Television. He had children including David Francis Basset, 1961 to 2010, eldest son and heir apparent, who died aged 49 with no sons. Michael James Basset, born 1963, married Caroline Bailey on 7 September 1996. Has a daughter, Elizabeth Jane Basset, born 1998. James Brian Basset, born 1968, a former page of honor to the Queen, who has a son, Harry James Oscar Basset, born 2002. Further reading: Cleveland, Duchess of the Battle Abbey Roll with some account of the Norman lineages, in 3 volumes. Volume 1. London, 1889. Basset, being a reconstruction of the legendary Battle Abbey Roll. Tanguy, Michael, Tahiti and the Bassets. Redruth, 1984. This article incorporates text from a publication now in the public domain. Basset of Cornwall, Dictionary of National Biography. London, Smith, Elder & Co., 1885 to 1900.